You think the Eagles are on to something. And the guy running the show would be Jeff Hafley, and he now joins us on Packer and Durham. First of all, Coach, great seeing you. I know, like everybody else, you're just ready to get to game one, and let's kick this thing off.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We're definitely ready. It's a little weird. Last year at this time, I think I was on for the first time ever, and we didn't kick off until about the 19th. So excited to start a normal year at the normal time with some fans and students, and really, really excited to kick off the college football season.
If you had to grade preseason training camp, Coach, how was it? If you had to put a grade to it, what do you think?
You know, I would give it a B. We had some injuries that I think held us back a little bit, especially up front on the D-line where we're pretty thin. If not, I'd probably give it an A. But with those injuries, you know, that's what you look to do in training camp, get out healthy. And, you know, unfortunately, we got a few guys banged up, but the effort, the execution, I think we got a lot better. So just being fair and with always room for improvement, I'll give us a B, and hopefully we can continue to build off of that.
Coach, I know the players are jacked, but I know you've kind of mentioned this a little bit too. Coming through that tunnel with fans, a little different than the cutouts last year. Does it? I know you've been through this now once at BC. This is year 2, but will it kind of feel like the first go around coming through this weekend with the band going nuts and people going bonkers, and all of a sudden it really feels like a college football weekend?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, truthfully, I feel like I've never even coached a game here before. I was in the office the other day and I heard a band play and I was like, what is that noise? Like, I forgot we had a band. And then I went out and spoke to the freshman class of 2,500 Saturday afternoon, and I saw like that many people in the stadium. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then there was cheerleaders and the mascot, and this is college football. I mean, this is what the players deserve, and this is what we all want. And I started to get the chills, and this is real now. You know, it's felt like a dream that this is actually going to happen, but it's real, and I can't wait.
You know, after being around Phil Jurkovec a little bit in Charlotte, I'm not sure he's the type guy that gets wrapped up in a lot of the hype, right, of the preseason. He just seems to be a pretty even-keeled kid. But what is it about him this year that's better than a year ago, from just the mental approach to this to the what you saw in camp leading up to what you're going to get Saturday at noon against Colgate?
Yeah, I think you hit Phil right on the head. He is even-keeled, and he doesn't get rattled, and he's the same guy every day. What I see is more confidence. I see a guy who now has actually played a full season and knows what he's doing. You know, you see the leadership coming in and out of the huddle. You see the throws he makes a little bit quicker. He gets to the check down a little bit faster. I've seen him tuck it away and run, and he looks bigger and stronger. It's his second season, you know, so, you know, he might make some mistakes, but everything's faster right now for him and more confident. And that's what we're all just really excited about, to see where he can take this thing.
Coach, he should be confident. Number one, he got a terrific offensive line, and we've been bragging about your collection of wide receivers. And I think folks that even follow college football, if you said, all right, give me the best group of wide receivers in the league, you know, people do the regular ad school A, B, and C. I don't think your guys as a collection, a whole collection, receive enough national attention, because that is a really talented group of wide receivers you've got in Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, you know, I appreciate you saying that, because obviously people talk about Zay, and Zay's electrifying, and I think he'll have even more production this year. But Kobe White returns, and he was one of our leading receivers before we all got here with the new staff. Jalen Gill, a transfer from Ohio State. C.J. Lewis, I mean, looks like a grown man right now. I mean, is he a tight end? Is he a receiver? I mean, he can kind of do it all. And then we have some freshmen that we brought in that can really run and move to add some depth with Jelani Galloway and Ethan Williams. So as a whole, that group, I mean, it is probably our strongest group besides the offensive line. So I'm excited to see, you know, maybe we'll have to throw it like 75, 80 times this year.
Uh-oh. Wow, wait,
No.
whoa.
See,
whoa.
now wait a second.
Whoa.
Wait.
Time out.
Wait.
Time out.
That's not happening.
Wait a minute. We've been
That's not
talking
happening,
about,
Hafley.
Coach, we've been talking about balance all year, getting the running game going again to complement this great passing game. And you go right, you rip up the Mark Packer coaching. I say nothing. You know, we're going to run the ball 50% of the time. We're going to throw it, but don't come out here saying we're going to throw this thing around the yard 80 times. Coach, you can't do that. Now, you might do that, but don't say it.
Well, look, you just mentioned Phil, and then you had me talk about all those receivers. How are we going to get them all the ball? I mean, shoot, whether you're going to have to go really fast to run it, or who knows what's going to happen. Make our first few opponents practice to pass a little bit more.
That's why they're paying you 7 figures to figure out how many balls you got up there in BC.
All right. But I want to back up here a second. We talk about Djokovic. We talk about Kobe White coming back. We know what Flowers can do. We know you're bona fide in the offensive line. You got 2 really interesting players on your roster, though. A grad transfer from Jacksonville State, Trey Berry, who I think is – I'm not saying he's Hunter Long, but he kind of fits the specs. And then Alex Sinkfield shows up from West Virginia. That's a guy that played with Letty Brown, not behind Letty Brown a year ago for Neil Brown. They split time. How big an impact can we see out of those guys on your roster?
Yeah, hoping to see a big impact. Trey Berry just about 6'7", huge wingspan, aggressive, can make all the catches in training camp. Just so hard to defend in the red zone and down the field. You know, Phil's big, so when he looks to scramble, who do you think he's going to look for? He's going to look for a giant running down the field, 2 big guys throwing the ball. And then Sinkfield just, he brings some strength and power to our run game. You know, he's good in protection. He's aggressive, downhill. He's got ability to jump cut. And the thing I love about him is just his seriousness. I mean, he is locked in, and he is just so excited to be here. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful he's on our team because he's also a really good leader and an awesome kid.
Coach, we're talking about all these offensive guys. Hey, defense is your calling card. You came from Ohio State. You weren't over there throwing it over the yard 70 times. You were knocking people upside the head on the defensive side. If this team's going to get to where we think we can get at Boston College, the defense is going to have to raise their game up. So tell me, as we sit here at the end of August, what you're doing defensively, at least what you perceive to be, hey, we're better off right now than we were a year ago on the defensive side.
You see, that's why I wish you were at the media day that you missed, because no one asked me one defensive question. It was literally offense, and I walked out of there being like, am I an offensive coach or a defensive coach?
Right.
So thank you for asking me the defensive question. You're the first one.
I was sitting there 22 hours in the bed, COVID-ridden, sitting there watching ACC Network across the board.
Here we go.
And I saw you up there going, hey, somebody asked the man about tackling somebody. That's what he does for a living. So now we finally get to it.
Yeah, so we get to the defense. One, our secondary. We got some players, I think, that will take a step this year. You know, Sebastian, DeBerry, Jason Maitre, Mike Palmer. We got guys with some experience that we're going to count on. We're going to be aggressive. And I say that because I'm a DB guy, but our D-line, and we're going to have to play some young guys. We got guys returning like Valdez and Sheeta and Barlow, and, you know, we have to play good up front, and we're going to have to roll people. We have to get pressure on the quarterback. When quarterbacks move around, we have to be able to get them on the ground. That's where we struggled last year. And then we got 2 new linebackers, losing Max Richardson and Isaiah McDuffie, both playing in the NFL right now. And it's going to be guys like Cam Arnold and Isaiah Graham Mobley and Vinny DePalma and some freshmen that are going to have to win and earn that job and play at a high level. So we're going to be young, but we're going to play fast, and we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to be fearless. And I don't care if we have to play 22 guys. We are going to run and hit all over the field. And I think you're going to see a more aggressive style of play this year.
Like it.
All right, you mentioned the commitment. You talked about freshmen now on a couple different levels, both on offensive skill sets. And look, I don't expect you to talk about freshmen in the offensive line because we know how solid that is. But now you've mentioned freshmen at potentially 2 levels of your defense and maybe 3, certainly in the secondary. How much does that change kind of your schedule of what you want to be in year 2 after having the success you had in year 1?
Again, good question, and I've been asked this a lot. We're going to play and develop guys, but I'm going to play the best player, and I don't care how old they are. I don't care what grade they're in. And if they're a freshman, I'm going to play them. If they're a transfer, I'm going to play them. If they're guys who are here, great, let's play them. And if there's a role for a player and he deserves to play, let's play 45 guys. But I want to be here, and I want to coach this thing 2, 3, 4 years down the road where our young guys are playing as good as everybody's freshmen in the country. That's what it's going to take for us to really take a huge step and make a run at this thing. It's not going to be by bringing in transfer and year after year. No, like, let's develop our freshmen and let's develop the young guys and see where we can be in 3 and 4 years. And that's what I'm excited about. Our staff did a great job of bringing in a lot of talent, mix that with our veteran returners, and let's all go play football together and see where we can take it.
Coach, down at Clemson, Venables has that get-back guy, right? The coach, the assistant coach, always make sure that he's not crossing the line. Have you spent any time making sure that Pat Kraft as a get-back guy? Because I'm sensing he might be the only AD in the league that's wearing eye black on Monday, getting ready for this weekend's game.
That's good because I'm actually his get-back guy. Because last year I literally looked over. Last year we could go down to like the 15, and they threw a PI call, and I looked back, and someone was yelling at the ref, and it was Pat. I'm like, Pat, you get back. That guy's intense. So I do not need a get-back coach, but I certainly have to look into getting Pat one. I'm going to go up to his office after this and actually talk to him about that. He could get us a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, that bothers me because every time Kraft's on here, man, I get fired up just listening to him. But I can see him with eye black right now walking down the hallway and have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, he is one fired up dude. And I know you love working for him, too, because you guys seem to be a perfect match.
I do. I'm very grateful that he's here. We've certainly clicked. We talk all the time. I love when he comes down to practice. He gets everybody fired up, and he's got the right mindset and the right mission. He wants to win here. We know we're going to win here. It will take time. We know that too. And we just want to do it the right way and build it the right way so we can sustain it. And, from him and Father Leahy, the money that we're putting in with the facilities and the upgrades and the support, it's been awesome. And that's why this is a great place, and that's why I'm so fortunate to be the head coach here.
Coach, we joke about this a little bit, but there are a lot of really good young coaches in the ACC on staff here. I mean, we've talked to a lot of different guys throughout the summer and on into the month of August. You got an interesting situation on Saturday because your DC is a Colgate grad. Tim Lukabu played for the Raiders. He understands it. He knows the mentality. Are you having to say, hey, Tim, you need to bring the full heat now? It's not the time for the alumni check on Saturday. We need to be driving the bus here, right?
Yeah, I'll find out within the first few series. I might have to take over and start calling it if he's being too nice. We'll find out where his allegiance really is quickly in the first game by how many blitzes he calls. But Tim has done a phenomenal job. Really smart, such a great leader, phenomenal human being, incredible family, his wife and his kids. We've been close for a long time. He's got a really bright future, and I'm really fortunate that we can do this together because I've learned as a head coach I can't be there as much as I want in those meetings, and I can walk away knowing that he is doing an incredible job, and I'm fortunate he's here.
Coach, I just mentioned before we brought you on that I think an underlying storyline for the upcoming football season will be super seniors because you also get a guy who's 23 years old. That's a grown man after playing college football. And, given the fact that COVID and what the NCAA ruled, from a super senior standpoint, what do you have on this team? And do you think down the road that will be kind of an interesting storyline as we figure out what the 21 season looks like?
I do, and even, last night I was looking at the Colgate roster. It's almost like every single player is a senior. And if you look at ours, we have so many seniors, and I think that's going to bring a lot of experience, a lot of clean football. I think teams are going to be able to do a little bit more schematically because they've had these players in the system. And I think it's going to make it more competitive this year. And I think there's going to be some teams that maybe get to make runs because their seniors have been developed and they're better than some freshmen and sophomores on some of these, so-called top teams with the 5 stars and the 4 stars. So I'm excited to see it. And I'm grateful that we have a handful of guys that came back for their super senior year.
Well, I got to believe the other thing about this is, despite Packer not being at the ACC kickoff, there is a lot of normal about this for you, right? There's a lot of normal about this, Jeff. And you didn't have any of this last year. There was 0 of this a year ago, and yet you guys had some success. So just the fact we're kind of operating normal has got to be encouraging for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's really encouraging just in establishing the culture and the program. I mean, getting to be in my team meeting room and actually be face-to-face with the guys this year rather than doing it in a big open space like in our indoor or outside. I feel like I've gotten closer with the players. I feel like I've gotten closer with the staff. I was even able to have the staff over for the first time and get together, which we haven't done. And that's really important, that bond, that relationship outside of the office, just like the players have been able to have the coaches at their house, whether it's to have a barbecue or go swimming. Those are important things in building a culture. And that was taken away from us in year 1. And we are a closer group, both staff and players right now. So just so much to be excited for as we start. And I'm just, God willing, COVID kind of disappears a little bit. And this is a normal football season.
One last thing for me, I couldn't help but notice on social media last week, you got soft on us and said, all right, boys, ice cream truck's here. Let's go. Ice cream for everybody. I'm like, man, that can't be Hafley. What's going on, man? Let's go hit somebody. So with that said, what was your go-to at the ice cream truck? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I did that for my kids because my 2 daughters love ice cream, and I wanted to get them at practice. So they asked for an ice cream truck, so we brought one in. So maybe my daughters are soft. I'm going to have to talk to my wife about that. But
you know
I think I went with an ice cream cone. The kids went with these strawberry shortcake type things, and our guys loved it. You know, the big offensive line, Lindstrom and Zion, I think they had about 10 each, so they missed their weight the next day. So the strength coach was all mad at me. But, you know, sometimes you got to throw them a bone there.
That's right. I love it, man. Family first.
All right,
love the way you're thinking.
Hang on. Real quick here. You got some characters in the offensive line. Lindstrom's this guy in the offensive line that I think he's a wonderful player. But he's a beautiful human being now. This whole cooking deal and the attitude and the approach and the soft sell of, you know, the spices and all that jazz, that's pretty solid approach.
Yeah, Lindstrom is a great kid, very well-rounded. You just go into that room, you guys got to get to know guys like Mahogany. I mean, he's probably more of a character than all of them. And look out for him this year, guys. He's had about as good of a training camp as anybody on that line. Vrabel looks bigger, stronger. His whole body has changed, so I'm excited to see where he can go. And then Zion, who could have came out last year, again, bigger, stronger, knows the offense. That group's going to have to lead us. And again, you know, whether we throw it 90 times or run it however we do, that group has to set it up for us.
Coach, let me tell you something.
Pack,
I'm going to tell you this.
All of a sudden, Boston College is in the Canadian Football League.
Right,
all of a sudden,
right.
there's BC Lions.
You know, all I know is this, Coach. Next year, I don't plan on being ill. I will make an appearance, again, God willing, and I'm still employed at the ACC kickoff. And the fact that you know somebody with an ice cream truck, we got to do something about that next year in Charlotte. Because I think me and you zipping in there with the ice cream truck, we can make that work next year. That'd be a good fit for the media.
We should do that together. And like I was saying earlier, my media day doesn't count. That was my first one, and since you weren't there, next year I'm still a rookie. So, and like I said, maybe I can get on the big stage next year and hang out next to you instead of being off on the side set.
You were on the big stage.
Hey, maybe
you were in the dark room with Jordan Cornette and EJ and all those guys. Hafley, that was the big room. Kelsey and I were just hanging out over there in the radio area. What are you talking about?
All right, if that's the case, then hey, Jordan was good. Those guys were good to me. But I bet you if Pack was there, I would have been right up on the big one.
That's exactly right. When we come pulling that ice cream truck in the lobby, let me tell you something, Coach. And nobody gonna have a better entrance than that, guarantee you. Listen, we wish you the best, man. Always a pleasure.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Be
Coach.
well.